Hello friends and viewers, in this video I review how you can optimize the Crystal Burst Armor Trinket. Starting with the basics, Crystal Burst Armor is a legendary trinket that increases HP and strike back damage. There are characters stronger at strike back damage than others, and characters who strike back more frequently than others, so Crystal Burst Armor has more value for them. It is also the only trinket that increases HP, so for characters whose damage or healing scale with HP, Crystal Burst Armor will increase their respective throughput. Strikebacks use the character's weapon or basic attack. If a character has a weapon and or basic attack that apply debuffs, the strikeback attack will also apply the debuffs. Strikeback damage is also considered out of turn damage. I define Crystal Burst Armor's usage with the following rating scale. An excellent rating is for characters who can strike back multiple times per round and can innately empower their strike back count and or damage. A very good rating is for characters with HP scaling using Crystal Burst Armor to increase their damage or healing. A moderately good rating is for characters who can strike back multiple times per round but may not have the durability to take multiple hits. This also includes characters who can have strong strike back damage but not at 100% uptime. A good rating is for characters who can empower their strike back damage but are still limited to only one strike back per round. And a fair rating is for characters who can only strike back once per round. Alexei is an excellent unit for Crystal Burst Armor. His Brute Bear counter reaction allows him to strike back 2 times per round, which is already double the typical strike back reaction. He has the counterattack Storm, which makes his strike backs more lethal by increasing damage, range, and count. Paired with the Gore Drinker passive, Alexei boasts strong sustain and out-of-turn damage, so Crystal Burst Armor's HP and strike back damage gains empower that further. Guzman is an excellent unit for Crystal Burst Armor with the Protective Counterattack skill. This ability allows him to strike back at range in addition to providing assisting cover against magic damage. With his counterattack reaction skill, he can strike back up to 3 times per round. With its 3-turn uptime and 3-turn cooldown, Guzman can hypothetically maintain 100% uptime on this skill. His trait incentivizes him to take damage to deal more damage, and strikebacks allow him to immediately use that power. Recruited Guard is another excellent user for Crystal Burst Armor with his Global Guard and Sharpened Blade skills, along with having a counter-attack reaction skill option. With a 3 energy cost and 3-turn uptime on Global Guard, he can hypothetically maintain 100% uptime on this skill. Pairing Global Guard with Counterattack allows 2 strikeback counters per round, and Sharpened Blade makes these stronger. Don't be confused by Global Guard's tooltip. Recruited Guard does not need to trigger the assisting cover to perform a strikeback. Activating Global Guard grants the Counterattack buff. Crystal Burst Armor is very good for Leonide because the damage of his Glowing Pike Thrust and All-Out Pike Thrust scale with his HP, thus increasing his damage throughput. Leonide also has the Guardian's Oath reaction skill triggering Preempt. Crystal Burst Armor also increases the damage from this reaction. For Coco, all of her healing scales with her HP, so Crystal Burst Armor is very good for her for the HP increase only. Coco cannot make use of the strike back bonus from Crystal Burst Armor. Crystal Burst Armor is moderately good for Gloria and Enforcer because of the counterattack mode skill. However, despite the increased range and damage from counterattack mode, it only has a hypothetical 50% uptime. Additionally, Gloria does not have the durability to regularly take hits to strike back. Enforcer can be more durable with his trait and Brutal Blow skill. Gloria can learn the counterattack reaction skill as well. It is not an option for Enforcer. Crystal Burst Armor is moderately good for Momo because the Erosive Force Field reaction can strike back multiple times per round. However, it is contingent on her repulsion barrier stacks. For Fakel, with Eye for an Eye, Fakel can hypothetically strike back an unlimited number of times, and Heart of Alert makes his strikebacks even stronger. Additionally, the melee Mega Crossbow weapon allows Fakel to strike back from melee range. However, the reason this is moderately good for Fakel is because Fakel does not have the durability to take multiple hits to constantly strike back. Crystal Burst Armor is moderately good for Safia with her Shadowless Blade skill. Shadowless Blade is a strikeback, performing AoE damage in a 3x4 area and inflicting Vulnerable 2. If she's targeted with ranged abilities, she can potentially strike back the same direction and capitalize on the vulnerable 2 she applies. Shadowless Blade has great potential in a single turn, but its 3-turn cooldown means it only has a hypothetical 33% uptime. Crystal Burst Armor is good for Magnus and Suppression because of the Sharpened Blade skill. They can both learn the counterattack reaction skill, however, it does not change the fact that they are still limited to striking back once per round. For Magnus, if Mighty Swing is his basic skill, then his strike back will be Mighty Swing. This is also technically one of the few ways to increase his AoE damage. For Suppression, Crystal Burst Armor will not increase the damage of the preempt from his trait, as that is modified to do piercing damage. For fair users of Crystal Burst Armor, it's for any other characters with a counterattack or preempt reaction. While they may have other skills that can inflict debuffs or passive skills that increase the strike back damage, it doesn't change the fact that they are limited to only one strike back per round. An external source of strikebacks is Invincible Hero. Invincible Hero is a tactic that allows any unit to perform an enhanced strike back. You will most likely want this on a unit already equipped with Crystal Burst Armor, as the trinket will increase the damage of the tactic. For gear, if you're looking to increase specifically a unit's strike back damage, the Sword and Wand Resonance is the only reliable resonance to increase strike back power. For Taros, consider Tower or Magician to increase strike back damage. You may consider additional attack on Tower Taros for more damage instead of the lifesteal hidden effect. To close out this video, Alexei, Guzman, and Recruited Guard, depending on your skill selection, are excellent candidates for the Crystal Burst Armor trinket. Coco and Leonide are also very good options as well with their HP scaling. You can explore Crystal Burst Armor strategies on the aforementioned moderately good units, but make sure to have a plan to keep them healthy or able to disengage from danger. If your trinket options are limited, or if your characters are few, then equip Crystal Burst Armor on any character with a strike back reaction. If there are any details I missed, or if you have any feedback on this trinket, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching.